which is so...
This is Style, and I'm Elsa Klensch, reporting on the design worlds of fashion, beauty, and decorating. This week we have a special show to mark the beginning of a new decade. It's called Fashion, going from the 80s to the 90s. In it, we recall some of the major trends of the past decade and have a look at what's coming up for the next one. Animal prints have grown stronger every year, but in 1989 they almost took over fashion. Swimsuits became more glamorous every summer. For years, the Italians did the best, but now for Spring 90, you'll see how the rest of the world is catching up. Collecting objects for the home was one of the most popular pastimes of the decade. What are some of the everyday objects of the 80s that could become valued antiques a century from now? You'll hear predictions from 6 noted interior designers. And now, a look into the 90s, where fashion is heading as we approach the last decade of the 20th century. Designers see the 90s as a decade of challenge. A challenge to match the 80s, for the 80s were the most exciting decade of the century. Fashion became truly international. Milan, London, Tokyo, New York, and even Madrid began to compete with Paris as the fashion capital of the world. The result was that women were offered clothes from dozens of designers, many of whom were unheard of in the 70s. And they liked it. They eagerly accepted the concept of international fashion, and they began to explore the enormous choice of shapes, colors, silhouettes, and fabrics that were now available. The well-dressed woman today creates her own individual look. She mixes separates from several different designers and sometimes puts them with less expensive pieces or even antique clothes. But that doesn't mean that general trends don't exist. They do. In fact, they're stronger than ever. And that brings us to the 90s. In the 90s, designers see a softening of the silhouette, less constructed tailoring, more emphasis on the body. Fabrics, too, are different. The new ones are lightweight, seasonless, uncrushable, easy care. In New York, Jeffrey Bean says the clothes of the future must not only be attractive, but they must perform.
I've always said the bathing suit, to me, is the perfect piece of clothing because it is designed for exactly what it does. Clothes in the future will make those same demands apart from the bathing suit.
That's what designers have to consider for clothes of the future.
Performance. Beautiful performance.
Donna Karen says women want simple, functional clothes, and yet at the same time they must have glamour.
I think the designer's job right now is to stimulate, tantalize, and do the best things that she or he knows how to do. But it's love items. It has to say, I need you, I want you, and you're fabulous, and you work for me.
In Milan, Giorgio Armani agrees with Donna. He tells me he expects the demand for new and exciting fashions to continue in the 90s.
Negli anni 80 forse il cambiamento vero è che le donne non hanno...
In the 80s, women no longer bought clothes from 1 or 2 designers. They began to put together their own looks, their own fashions. This means we designers will have to work harder and do our homework a little bit better.
Anna Fendi says that in the 90s, women will amuse themselves with their clothes, putting together unexpected combinations.
Ci sarà una tendenza, appunto.
Clothes will be elegant but casual at the same time. Accessories will be very important. You'll also see mixtures there too, mixtures of primitive and refined things. That's the new attitude.
In Paris, Claude Montana tells me clothes will become more simple.
The body is going to be the most important thing. I have like very elaborated cuts, but I mean, it shouldn't really show it. It's not something that really attracts your eye at first. Then you come to detailing and you see that, well, it's cut that way, but it's not as striking as it was maybe 10 years ago.
Sonia Ricciel tells me she expects the news in the 90s to be in the development of new yarns and fabric blends rather than in silhouettes.
It's a question of fabric, question of materials. I'm looking for new fabric and to make new fabrics.
In Tokyo, Issei Miyake tells me that 2 things may affect fashion in the 90s. One is the growing awareness of the need to protect the environment. The other is the new political freedom in Eastern Europe.
I think that people again enjoy, I hope so, the freedom after what's happening in Germany and Czechoslovakia, Poland. I think we are really having that new epoch, I think. It's incredible. And I hope, because of that, I think fashion can be changed. I mean, people are happy now.
And that's how top designers see fashion heading in the 90s. Next, I'll bring back some of the popular hairstyles of the 80s. For hair has certainly had its ups and downs. The looks range from short, boyish cuts to long, curly lion manes. Some are flattering, some are amusing, and some are really very glamorous. Stay with us.